Hi boys and girls, we've got an important job to do today. Mr. Wolf doesn't know how to make pancakes, so we need to tell him how. We're going to give him instructions. When you're given instructions on how to make something, we call it a recipe. Now then, we need to learn how to give instructions today, and that's going to be our job. Our little challenge is to learn how to say instructions out loud, because tomorrow we're going to write them down. But we have to be able to say them before we can write them, so let's give it a go. Now, do you know something? I always say to you, you should be very polite, shouldn't you? You should always say please, and you should always say thank you. You should never be rude, should you? And certainly never be bossy. But do you know there's one time when we're allowed to be bossy? That's when we're giving instructions. When you're writing instructions, you don't say please and you don't say thank you. You have to be really, really bossy. And we use these words called verbs. And today we're going to call them our bossy verbs. Verbs are words that tell us about an action. We can also call them action words. So walking is a verb, jumping is a verb, singing is a verb, reading is a verb. Anything you can do is a verb, okay? It's a posh word, you don't really need to remember that today, but I'm telling you the correct word for it, a verb. We could also call them action words though, and that might be a little bit easier for you to remember. But today we're going to be really bossy with them because we're going to tell people what to do. When you're giving instructions, you don't say, do you think you could put an egg into your bowl? You have to be really bossy. You would say, put an egg into the bowl. Do you think you can use the bossy voice today for me? Should we give it a try? Right, I've got some pictures to help us remember how to make a pancake and the order that it needs to go in. That's something really important, the order. So we're going to use some other words today as well. We're going to use some time connectives. We're going to use words like first, then, next, after that, and then the people following our instructions know what order to do them in. That's really important because if you get things in the wrong order when you're giving instructions, it will all go wrong. Imagine if the person making the pancakes put some milk into the bowl and then put it into the pan before they'd even got the egg and the flour. It's not going to work, is it? You need all of those ingredients in the bowl, then it goes into the pan, or else it's going to go all wrong. So we've got to make sure we get them in the right order. Right, should we give it a try? Okay, so I've got the first instruction here. Or I should say the first picture. Can you see that? Now then, when I made pancakes the other day for you on the video, I didn't use one of these. This is something you use to get all of the tiny little lumps out of the flour. Do you know what it's called? It's called a sieve. A sieve. And sieving is an action word. You can say sieve the flour. Sieve the flour into the bowl. Did I say please? Did I say thank you? Nope, I was really bossy, wasn't I? Sieve the flour into the bowl. Now, I didn't use the time connective there, did I? I didn't use one of those words to say when this should happen. Now, this is the very first instruction, isn't it? So I'm going to use the word first, then I'm going to remember to be bossy with my bossy verb. We ready? First, sieve the flour into the bowl. There's my first instruction. Right, next. I'm going to pop that one there. Okay, I've got the next instruction, the next card here. What's happening here? What's happening to this egg? What's the doing word? What's the action word, do you think? What are we doing to the egg? We are cracking, or you might say breaking. It's up to you, but they're both bossy verbs when we say them in a bossy voice anyway. Okay, should we give it a try? Let's be bossy. Break the egg into the bowl. That was bossy, wasn't it? Ooh, I didn't use one of those timing words though, did I? One of those time connectives. We had first here on this one. This was first. So what would this one be? We could say second. Or can you think of any other words? We could have next. Or we could say after that. Or we could say then. These are all good words to use when you're giving instructions. So, first, sieve the flour. Next, crack the egg into the bowl. I gave a little bit of extra information there because we don't just want them to crack the egg. It could go anywhere, couldn't it? So what we want to say is crack the egg into the bowl. Right, should we try the next one? Let's be bossy again. Let's have a look at this one. This is the next thing that we need to do. We need to add what's this here? It's the milk, isn't it? So already in the bowl, there's the flour and there's the egg. So we need to be bossy again now. If you've got a jug here with some milk in, what's the verb? What's that action word that we would be doing? We want the person to pour. That's the doing word, isn't it? The bossy verb that we're going to use. Right, so we've had first, sieve the flour into the bowl. Next, crack the egg into the bowl. What could our next time connective be? Should we use the word then? Then, pour the milk into the bowl. That was bossy, wasn't it? We didn't say please. We didn't say thank you. We just told the person what to do. And that's what you do when you write instructions or when you say instructions. Okay, we're doing really well. Let's go on to the next one. Here we are. Now then, does anybody know what one of these is? That is a whisk. That's right, it's called a whisk. And what that does is it mixes all of the ingredients together. So we can use the word whisk as our bossy verb. We can use that as our doing word, our action word. Or we could use the word mix. That could be our action word too, couldn't it? But I'm going to use the correct word. I'm going to use the word whisk because that's what we're doing here. So we've had first, I was going to say crack the egg and that wouldn't be right, would it? First, sieve the flour into the bowl. Next, crack the egg into the bowl. Then, pour the milk into the bowl. After that, whisk it all together. Okay, so that was my bossy verb there, wasn't it? Whisk it. And I used my bossy voice. Whisk it all together. I could add a little bit more information. I could say, after that, whisk it all together until there are no lumps left. Or I could say, after that, whisk it all together until it is smooth, because that means there's no lumps in. We don't want lumpy pancakes, do we? No way. Right, so that's our next instruction. Right, we've got our very last instruction now. Here it is. It's pouring the mixture into the pan, isn't it? Or frying our pancake in the pan. So, this is the very last thing that we're going to do. So I'm going to use the word finally. That means it's the very last thing we want the person to do when they're following our instructions. The very last instruction. Finally. It's a good word to use. Okay. Finally, put the batter, because that's what this is now. That mixture that you've mixed up is now called batter. If you can't remember the word batter, you could use the word mixture, couldn't you? You could say, put the mixture into the pan and fry it. That's a bossy word too, isn't it? Fry. That's an action word. You could even add some more information and say, then flip your pancake in the air and catch it in the pan. Now your pancake is ready. Okay, so I've used lots and lots of bossy verbs today. They're all of those action words, the words that tell the person what they've got to do. But we're not going to be polite about it. We're going to use our bossy voices. I'm sure you'll have fun doing that today. And as an extra challenge, you could try and remember those time connectives. First, second, third, or you could say first, then, next, after that. And what was that very last one we said? Finally. Okay, so bossy verbs and time connectives. And remember, no pleases and no thank yous when you're giving instructions. So your job now is, I'm going to put these pictures on I'm going to attach them to the activity, and I want you to look at each picture and I want you to say aloud your instruction for it. When you feel really confident doing that, you could even record yourself. You can click on the record button, that's a little picture of the microphone, and you can say your instruction out loud for each of the pictures, and then I get to hear them to find out how bossy you can be. All right, I hope you enjoy doing your job today, and don't forget this is great practice because tomorrow we're going to be writing these down. Right, enjoy your job everybody.